real quick. I think our guest is on the line. Let's double check and see. Is this Mr. James Durbin?
It sure is. Am I on?
You're on. You're live on the air. See, you called in the middle of a discussion of pot and the legalization of weed.
I've never heard that side of things, but that is definitely a possibility. I could definitely see how that would make sense.
Yeah, absolutely. So, dude, like, there's news stories breaking about you today. You realize that, right?
Is there really? About what? About Hollywood scars? What's going on?
Kind of, yeah, that. So, yeah, we'll talk about that.
I can neither confirm or deny any accusations made against or in my favor.
But do you like to bang your head?
I do. I like to feel the noise, but I also like to fly on Thunderbird.
Oh, dude, you're killing me. That song brings tears to my eyes.
I don't know. I don't take my news from unreliable sources. I'll just say that. If a more reliable news source comes available, then I'll start to talk.
But that's us. We're the more reliable news source. That's where we come into play.
Well, hey, let's talk.
All right. So, all right, like, I really want to talk about, like, before we even get into maps of the Hollywood scars, which I love the freaking name of that.
Thank you.
The whole, like, American Idol thing, like, not that I was like a fan of the show, but like those shows
in general. Come on, everybody was.
Honestly, seriously, like I just wasn't. I just wasn't a fan of the whole thing.
For sure.
But it interests me. It really does interest me. The whole thing, like a person like yourself. I mean, I'm going through and I'm like watching from your auditions to all your performances, and I'm like, first off, I mean, you're in front of two of the biggest names in music in Hollywood, with Steven Tyler and J-Lo, and you got to sing in front of them. Like, how freaking scary is it?
My first audition in front of the judges was by far probably one of the scariest moments of my life. I mean, but that's kind of the whole reason that I did it in the first place, was because Steven was going to be a judge. I had auditioned back in season 8 when Simon was still there, and actually I always thought that I'd be more afraid to audition in front of Simon Cowell, just because, I mean, you watch the show and you see you see the vibe too. But knowing that Steven was going to be there, I was like, okay, maybe that's my in. And so I did the audition, but yeah, I was scared shitless.
But I mean, all right, you're scared shitless, but to take it to the next level, like, dude, I mean, balls of steel, because then you go and sing "Dream On" to Steven Tyler. Like, that takes balls.
I asked. I didn't want to be disrespectful, but yeah, I definitely think at that point my emotions were running pretty high, and my vocals weren't being extremely clear, but I felt like it was necessary for the emotion and the moment. It was pretty cool. I was not worthy, but it was cool.
Totally cool. I give you credit. I mean, balls of steel, and the voice sounded awesome.
Thank you very much.
So, you said you tried out like a few seasons before. What makes you finally decide like to do this? I'm imagining you were a fan of the show, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, auditioning 2 years before, I mean, it was pretty crazy. I'm glad that I had that experience before auditioning again for season 10. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you put yourself through a lot mentally. You wait in line. I waited in line with my wife for probably a total of 36 hours split between 2 days to sing for 30 seconds with the chance, huge odds against me. There were 17,000 people at AT&T Park that day. And so knowing that myself and one other, Stefano Langoni, who made it to the live rounds and everything on TV and ended up being my best man at my wedding. I mean, the two of us were the only two that made it out of 17,000 people onto the show from the same city. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, you definitely have to be at a certain point mentally and in your life, I guess, to really want it that bad. I mean, looking back on it, all the large, humongous contracts and everything, you're basically taking a gamble. And if you got nothing to lose, then it doesn't take too long to figure out that it's time to sign it. I remember being there in that room, and you get given this giant stack of contracts, and we were actually going through boxes of stuff the other day, and my wife found them. She's like, "You want to keep these?" I was like, "Yeah, maybe we'll get around to reading them one day." They're basically there, and some of my buddies were calling up their attorneys and their financial advisors. I'm like, "Should I do this?" And everyone was like, "No." But if you want it, then, you really do it. And everybody that I've talked to is still glad they did it, regardless of, the situation you get yourself in. It's definitely worth the risk.
Now, is it similar to like America's Got Talent? Because we've had a lot of people on from America's Got Talent, and it's kind of almost basically like where the show kind of owns you for like at least a year.
Yeah, pretty much exactly like that. They do have what's called like a sunset clause, which can, or a 360 clause, where they get a bit of your touring, a bit of your merch, a bit of your publishing, pretty much a little bit of everything of you that you will make post your time on the show. And they get that for 5 years or something. So I know that our season had the most people signed to management deals following the show out of any other season. So they definitely pulled in some bills on us for sure. Season 10 was a big season, not discounting any other season, full of talent and everything. There's some phenomenal singers and musicians and performers out there. But our season, I can only speak for myself. Some of the most phenomenal musicians, songwriters, etc., that I've ever met or ever been in the presence of came from American Idol. And so it's like that completely, shoots down any notion for me personally that it's not a legitimate talent organization,
right.
In other words.
No, there's definitely, without a doubt, some amazing talent that goes on to that show. Or has gone on to that show. You're one of them. You know what I mean?
Thank you. I always discount myself whenever I talk about that. I mean, there was so much freaking talent that year. Everybody was memorable. Everybody put on such a performance, and everybody inspired each other to do better and to just try things.
Now, what do you think was actually harder, especially early on in the competition when you're first starting to do those? You're performing live on national TV with millions and millions of people, or doing the actual audition in front of the judges?
I don't know. It's pretty evenly matched. I know that. Before the judges, I'd probably say that my audition filmed in front of the judges was later in the day, and so I'd been waiting and waiting and waiting, and lots of people going through, and then it finally got to the point where, oh boy, it's getting crazy around here. Finally got to the point where I was about to audition, and then they called lunch, and so I'm sitting there, and then I see Steven, and then I see Randy, and then I see J-Lo, and they all walk by, and Steven and Randy stop to talk to me, and that was a full-on game changer, because then that initial shock of seeing them for the first time kind of wore off, and then about 30, 40 minutes later, I actually got to audition. So, that kind of helped out a little bit. Yeah, being in front of the cameras and the live audience, and knowing that on the other side of the lens live were 40 million people watching, that definitely puts a little bit of pressure on you.
Now, one thing that I always do enjoy noticing when I would see clips from early on in the season to a person like yourself and others, the further along that you're making it through the competition, I love to watch the makeovers start to happen. What was that like for you when they start doing the makeover on TV?
It was cool. I mean, for me personally, I think that I went into the competition better dressed and came out with what my buddy Alex in Hollywood Scars refers to as the expensive dirtbag look. It's like you got $20 jeans and $1,000 leather or $1,000 wallet chain, something like that. I was a pretty cleaned up kid going into it, and I was pretty disheveled looking by the end. But I definitely I still have everything that I wore on the show. I still have, so that's pretty cool. I get to recycle it and bring it back out. But yeah, on the other side of things, it gets pretty trippy when you go from being a small town kid to being on a TV show, and then them giving you $1,000 leather jackets every week and $5,000 watches and designer sunglasses, and then you're going to movie premieres and you're eating at fancy restaurants and paparazzi and all these different things, and then suddenly the show's over and boom, it's gone. And so they inflate your ego and they inflate your expectations, but then when the show's over, it's up to you to kind of fill in the blanks and keep it going. And if you made a lasting impression enough on the show to garner whatever amount of fans, fortunately and very thankfully and blessed and grateful I am to have such a strong, great, loyal fan base. Not everybody's that fortunate. So I definitely had a very inflated ego, and luckily for me, my wife has been very gracious in deflating it, which has been great and definitely got me back to being a humble person. I can't say I'm as humble as I was before the show, but I'm definitely getting there as the years go by.
Now, how quick does that happen? How quick does the change in your life happen from the moment your first appearance on there? Does your phone instantly start ringing from all different people?
It does. But surprisingly, I've had the same phone number since I was 16. So I've actually been okay not having too many people call me. I never really gave my number out to many people. I was kind of an outcast. So that's kind of worked in my favor. But I still get recognized around town, and it goes from a thing of every person that says hi is an extra coin in the ego fountain, but now it's kind of it has the reverse effect. I'm very grateful and very gracious to meet anybody that recognizes me, and that's a very blessed thing to have, because I gotta come from a place of gratitude in this whole reality show thing, is because it gave me everything pretty much from a performer and fan base standpoint and everything. It's all thanks to it. I'd been doing things locally and in my hometown, but that's only 60,000 people. So to get that extra boost on there is pretty phenomenal. And not even every 60,000 of them like me. Most of them I can't speak for.
So imagine that the town you're from is 60,000 people, and you'd be on TV performing in front of 40 million people.
Yeah, it's pretty mind blowing when you really think about it.
That's crazy. Now, how about when you got to perform with Judas Priest?
Okay, now that's a good story. So when I was looking at the song list to begin with, before I sang "You've Got Another Thing Coming," I was looking over and over and couldn't find a damn song. And I went to the producers and I was like, "Is there anything else I could do? Can I request something?" They're like, "No, you've got to pick from the list." And so I was like, okay. So I went back to the list, and just by chance, by fate, happened to shine its gracious hand upon me, or on the list more so, and I saw You've Got Another Thing Coming. I was like, You Got Another Thing Coming? It didn't say Judas Priest next to it. And so I went to the woman that cleared songs, Robin, and she was like, it's Judas Priest. I was like, no shit, awesome. So I go to the producers. I'm like, I'm going to sing You Got Another Thing Coming by Judas Priest. And I'm like, what the hell is a Judas Priest, and what's it doing on our list? And but once the song's on the list, they can't change you. They changed a couple people's choices, but I was always very adamant about not letting them change my choices, not the producers, not Jimmy Iovine, not anybody. I wanted to, if I was going to fall, I was going to fall by my own hand and not have anybody else to blame afterwards. I'm all about learning from my own mistakes, and I feel like that's important, especially as an artist. And I feel like that's a big thing that lacks from a lot of those shows is the artistry coming through.
Right.
And artists make a lot of mistakes, I'll tell you what, but some of the best art is made from what everybody else calls mistakes. So so then it was successful. I made it through to the next round. Judas Priest got wind of it. And then it came time to pick who you were going to play with if you were fortunate enough to get to be chosen to do a solo performance with said band. And so they came to me and they said, all right, well, it's up between Def Leppard or Judas Priest. And I'm like, oh, shit, yeah, I'm going with Judas Priest. I didn't sing any Def Leppard, no disrespect, but definitely had to go with Priest. So it came time for the rehearsal day on the big stage at the, I think it's the Nokia Theater, not the LA Live, but the real Nokia Theater, the big one.
Okay.
And so we're there, and Tim McGraw walks by, and Beyonce walks by, and then there's Bono and The Edge. They walk by, and then there's Judas Priest, and there's Rob Halford in the flesh, in the glory. And we were doing a dress rehearsal, and so he's got this big old duster coat, and then I had this vest that said "In Training" on it, so I hadn't earned my sleeves or my dusters yet, my tail. And so we rehearsed, and we get through it. We got the pyro, everything going. And so after the rehearsal of about 20 minutes, going through it a couple times with pyro and everything, Rob is like, James, would you like to try on my coat? And I was like, oh, hell yeah, what a dream come true. This is phenomenal. And then as soon as I'm putting it on, I didn't think about it first. Like, we just rehearsed for 20 minutes. And so slowly it felt like I was putting on his old British metal skin. It felt like you, pre-soak a wetsuit before you put it on because it goes on easier. It was like doing that. it was pretty crazy. But then luckily Jack Black came over, and so I pawned off the jacket on him. It had a little less sweat on it by then, and then I had the German military cap to go with it. And so we got to both myself and Judas Priest with Rob Halford. We all took pictures with Jack Black. That was pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome. Now afterwards, is or even before, did Halford or any of the other guys in Priest give any advice to you or anything, or?
No advice, really. I got to go out to dinner with them, which was a lot of fun. They're just eating lobster and sipping tea. It's very, very much what you would expect from Priest. So it was very, very cool. I really enjoyed myself, and I still keep in contact with Rob. I actually got to send him some of the demos for the Hollywood Scars project, and get his advice and hear what he thought. And so it's pretty cool. I woke up from a dream the other night seeing the Judas Priest logo. So it definitely means something. And I definitely see doing something with them in the future, in the near future, hopefully.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm trying to manifest it.
Oh, that would be killer. Now, which I was wondering, so you actually get to pick the songs that you get to perform?
For the show itself or for the finale?
For the show itself.
Yeah. Well, each week we were pretty much given a theme, and then you work with the producers or with the song clearance woman and decide pretty much what song you're going to do, which song is available, stuff like that. And so pretty much every time that I asked to sing something, pretty much every time I got to sing what I wanted, which was a real blessing. For instance, when I did 30 Seconds to Mars, Jared would never clear songs for them to use, not even their own recordings in package footage and stuff, but they cleared me for some reason. So that was pretty cool. I really wanted to do Zeppelin, but I got Das Boot before I got the chance to do that. I had some other fun stuff planned, but yeah, it you tend to plan in advance and not think about that you might be eliminated before then.
Sure. Now, do you guys have like any interaction with the judges beforehand or after the show, or?
No, we actually don't. That's the thing that I'm the most envious of other shows like The Voice, is that your judge is your mentor, and you actually work one-on-one with them. They can give you advice. You can, request advice, etc. So it's, you don't get that dynamic on Idol. But that's one thing I could see if they brought Idol back, that they would do something that's a little bit more inclusive of that. Yeah.
And actually, I did hear that it might be coming back on another network.
Yeah, NBC is talking about bringing it back. I know that I had talked to the creator, Simon Fuller. He was talking about something about it maybe coming back as on a digital platform. I keep pushing for let's do a cruise. I think a cruise would be fun. Maybe Netflix. I don't know, something like that. Which I don't know how that would work though with votes, doing it on Netflix. Kind of changes the whole scape of things.
Yeah. It loses that whole live effect with the voting and all.
Yeah, it'd be kind of weird.
Now, have you had any crazy rock star moments yet?
Other than Lobster and Tea with Judas Priest, Cheese Sticks and I guess it'd just be Cheese Sticks with Chris Jericho. Dessert shared 3 ways with Chris Jericho and The Miz. Let's see. I'm a big WWE guy, so getting told on live TV that by Hulk Hogan that you're going through and going on tour and getting into the top 10. A lot of stuff from Idol. Singing Happy Birthday to Steven Tyler with Stevie Wonder. Singing 30 Seconds to Mars with Sheryl Crow during rehearsals. She sang backup with me. Getting Zakk Wylde onto American Idol with the help of Chris Jericho.
What was that?
With Zakk.
With
that's
Zakk,
a good story. That's I was talking to the producers after my interview with Jimmy Iovine, where he was talking to me about not playing a certain song. I really wanted to do Heavy Metal by Sammy Hagar from the 1980 whatever movie, the cult classic animated feature of the same name. And so Jimmy was just saying, you're going to sound like a Sammy Hagar wannabe. It's going to come off bad. It's going to come off awful. You don't know what you're doing. And I basically just kind of said, you're listening to me sing this song with a piano accompanist. No offense to Michael Orland on piano. And none taken from him. But I really was like, you're not going to hear what this is going to sound like with the guitars and the vibe and the, and the crazy leads and everything that I'm hearing in my head when I think about it. And so I basically told him to stick it. And I wanted to do it in another way also on top of that. And so Chris Jericho was on Dancing with the Stars at the same time, that filmed in the studio next to ours that was housed in the same building. There were 2 big hangars. And so I'd become friends with him. And while reading one of his books, his second book, I believe, I found out that he was really close with Zakk Wylde, which is the reason that Zakk started growing his beard in the first place, is because him and Chris were doing a beard growing contest, and clearly Zakk won. Which is just crazy. It's fun how things happen like that. And so I got Zack's wife's number from Chris, who she managed him at the time, and so I started talking, saying could I get Zakk on Idol? And so they kind of figured out, that's something that we could figure out. And so I went to the producers and I said, if I can get Zakk Wylde to come play with me on heavy metal, will you okay it? You guys don't have to pay anything. You don't have to be expensed. Nothing. And they said, yeah, whatever. In other words. And so I got him. That day came in. It was also really trippy because the same day I had the Make-A-Wish Foundation come, and they had a kid who really wanted to meet me. That was his wish, which put my head in a completely different place, mentally, ego-wise, everything. And that's when I started to realize kind of the effect I was having for people with disabilities, people, struggling kids, people that felt different, felt out of place, and especially my buddy Cole, from Make-A-Wish, who's still alive and kicking, and I think I'm going to see him in a couple weeks out in Ohio. But yeah, it's pretty crazy how all these things happen. It goes from being this rock star thing about you and your artistry and your ego and sticking it to the man, and then something that grounding happens, I guess. It really brings you back down to earth and really makes you realize what things are important, because not only is it a kid with a dream and a wish, it's a kid who's somebody's son, he's somebody's brother, and so it really makes it a human experience again. So that's probably one of, if not my favorite thing that ever happened on Idol, and the most rock star thing, of course, too.
I'll tell you what. As soon as we announced you last week for this week's show, one of the friends and fans of the show instantly said, you have to tell James how much of an influence he is on her and her children who go through the same battles that you do with Tourette's and Asperger's.
Mm-hmm. Case in point. Tell her thank you. I'll tell her right now. Thank you so much. I'm like, I can't. There's always constant reminders. Whenever I start to think that any of this is about me or it's for me, it's not. There's always a constant reminder that tells me that I just need to keep going and keep making it happen and keep making a difference. Of course, I do it for the love and the passion of music, but if I know that my voice, and not just my singing voice, but my ability to make people listen and my platform, and I can use that for good, then I'm definitely going to. I mean, because if you're going to use it for anything less, then it's not good enough for you, and it's not good enough for rock and roll. It's not good enough for anybody. Rock and roll is about your voice and the power of your voice, and not just singing and screaming and music, but the level and the attitude and the spirit. And if you can pass that level and attitude and spirit on to other people, and they can utilize it in their lives in other ways to not only empower them, but just lift their spirits, lift their self-confidence and their self-awareness. And, maybe at that point people will start to understand that being different isn't a problem. They don't need to change. They don't need to become more normal, because different is awesome. It's awesome to be different. It's what sets you apart from everybody else. People that try to be just like everybody else are boring. You can't tell them apart. So it's nice to be the different person and to spread difference, I guess.
Well, I'll tell you, the two boys' names are Dakota and Eric. It's the lady's name is Stacy. It's her two sons, and she was the one that had said that. She was just like, he is such a positive influence on all my two boys. So she was really excited by that.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that with me. That makes me feel good.
So now you end up getting, as you said, Das Boot from the show. What goes through your head? Like, do I go now? What am I going to do?
It's definitely it's an interesting moment. It's something that you don't really prepare yourself for, because every week you're preparing yourself to go through to the next round. And so what songs am I going to be singing? What am I going to wear? What color is my hair going to be this week? What kind of shoes? Just these stupid things you're fucking worrying about. And And so you start to just lose sight of really what's most important. And the whole reason I went on Idol was to live my dream of being a working musician. And so that's not necessarily making the most money, playing the biggest gigs, getting the most people's attention. But if I can work and do what I feel I've been blessed with, then I just got to do it. Exactly. That's pretty much all it is to it. So when I found out, I didn't just find out on TV. I kind of knew from the beginning of that day, because no one would look at me, no one would make eye contact with me, and there was definitely a drop in just people's attitudes and people's overall aura, I guess. So I could definitely tell that it was going to be me. And then by the time the cameras were rolling, I really knew it. I was standing there with Scotty McCreery, and I mean, say what you want about the kid, but he's amazing. He really is a phenomenal performer, and that kid had so much potential, and they harnessed it, and he harnessed it. He learned so much. So, and that week before, I had become really close with him. We were the last two boys remaining in the competition, and we developed a really good friendship over that time, and it was fun to, I knew that we still had the finale. I knew that we still had the tour, but I can tell you I was looking forward to being up on that stage and being one of the two people standing there. So I guess it's probably better to go out fourth than to go out second or even third. I still got to do the big press outlets. Third does not get to. Second also does not get to as much because all the attention's on first place at that point. So I feel like it was a very important spot for me, and it fit well. It's not everything I do afterwards is American Idol runner-up or American Idol winner or third place. It's kind of, I think fourth is good. I think fourth is good for this situation. It's unique, for sure.
Now, at that point, like you said, you had the tour coming up and stuff like that, but does your phone start ringing with this rumor going around earlier? Do you start getting bands like that start reaching out to you? Hey, would you like to come try out for us? And stuff like that, or do you already know all right, I'm going to try to put together my own thing and work on that?
At that point, I was really open to anything. If something was the right fit. I heard that at that point, Disturbed was looking for a new singer, and then shortly after, maybe a year later, Hinder was looking for a new singer. And every time something kind of came about, it just wasn't the right time. Just off of Idol, I knew that I had a few labels that were interested in me, and I was really looking forward to putting out my own album and getting together with a couple guys from my hometown, and then held auditions and ended up getting the drummer and rhythm guitarist from In This Moment, the original drummer and guitarist Blake Bunzel and Jeff Fab, and added them with Tyler Molinaro and Dylan Rose, both from Santa Cruz, and that was like a real band. It was really cool. Right. There was just the professionalism and the vibe and the energy on stage was great, but off stage it wasn't as phenomenal. So, stuff happens, and if something doesn't come together super organically, then those things are bound to happen. Right. But yeah, it was definitely one of my on stage moments where one of my most favorite times in this whole journey and career and everything.
So, all right. So now, fast forward to modern day. We're here. You've hooked up with Alex Grossi, I could talk. Known from, how about that? Known from the world of Quiet Riot. He also was in the Beautiful Creatures back about 10 years ago. Killer friggin' band. How'd you and Alex hook up?
So Alex and I know each other through mutual acquaintance back from pretty much around my Idol days. He had come to a couple of my performances out in L.A. when he lived out there with my original band lineup coming off the show. And then we just kind of lost touch. I mean, we'd never were that close. We didn't trade numbers or emails or anything. We just kind of knew each other by conversation and a quick meeting. And then I was out in Vegas doing a residency show last fall, and we happened to be at the same place at the same time, the same restaurant, ran into each other, like, Alex Grossi, right? He's like, James, what's going on? And so we traded numbers and emails then, and once my residency show ended, he emailed me and was like, hey, I've got these songs. You know, some of them are Quiet Riot riffs that I had written for, you know, whatever, throughout the years, and I've written them and recorded them as full songs, but they're just instrumentals. I own them. You know, would you want to write to them? Here's 6 songs. It started me off with 3, and then I sent those 3 back with lyrics and melodies and fully recorded, just good sounding demos that I did on my laptop, and sent those back within a week. And it was just kind of a dawning oh shit moment. The quality of songs and the energy and the vibe behind them, they really worked. You know, they're really on a unique level as far as anything that either of us had done previously or currently. And so we just kind of kept going. At first it was just going to be something for syncs and licensing for commercials and whatnot. And as we kept going, we were like, okay, well, we gotta name it something. And so I have always had the name Hollywood Scars. It was a band that I had pre-Idol. If you look on YouTube, Hollywood Scars, James Durbin, there's a couple things up there. We just played a handful of gigs, competed in a battle of the bands out here in Santa Cruz, and just a heavy rockin' 4-piece that was, you know, reliving the vibe and of the 80s glam days, kind of a Crash Diet, Reckless Love kind of a vibe. And so we did that, and it was short-lived. And then Idol kind of happened as soon as that ended. And so I got to stop
you, James. Just the fact that you know these bands, like Crash Diet and stuff like that, and you won American Idol, just totally shocks the shit.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I mean that the original Hollywood Scars incarnation got me into a lot of great bands. Veins of Jenna, the original with Lizzie Devine as a singer, not the other guy that crashed. Reckless Love, Crash Diet with all 3 of their singers, Dave Lepard, Oliver H. Twisted, and Simon Cruz. And then Oliver H. Twisted left and went back to Reckless Love. Now he's Ollie Herman. And just some great music. Hardcore Superstar, one of my favorites. They contributed a song to my first album called Outcast, which Mick Mars played on in earlier 2016, beginning of the year. I got to open for Hardcore Superstar and Michael Monroe, which was unbelievable. It was so rad.
Come on.
Yeah, so I've kept the name Hollywood Scars. I owned it, created it, so I knew I always wanted to bring it back, and so I just kind of requested it to Alex, and he loved it. We just kind of talked about it and added maps to just to kind of give it its own thing and kind of name it as more of a project, less of a band, because it's just the 2 of us. It's, you know, it can really just be anything. We might eventually hyphenate it down to just to Hollywood Scars. Not sure. You know, we'll see. But it's been a really great outlet for my creativity. Some of the songs on it, on Volume 1 and on Volume 2, are some of the best songs I've ever written. Till Death is one of the best I've ever written or been a part of. And it wrote it in like, you know, an hour. So it's pretty crazy when you're just kind of put in a position to write, and you're given all the tools that you need and a perfect base, as you know, to write it to. It's just it's great. You know, Alex and I created a really good team, and we've developed a really great friendship, which is more than you could ever ask for. You know, you think of the Lennons and McCartneys and the Jagger and Richards, and you know, these different these great duos, and not to ever compare myself to any of those legends but it's nice to find somebody that you can write with on that level and see eye to eye with and trade ideas in a non-judgmental way.
Right. Now, how about like I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of these type of projects or band situations that do what you and Alex have done, where you put out an EP of great music. I mean, just great rocky music. And I know as a musician myself, whenever I've been a part of something and you're putting together that music and you just feel it. And the thing that always went through my head is I want to perform this in front of fucking people and see what the crowd feels and if they like it or not. So I'm sure you guys got to feel the same way. I mean, is there any plans to ever put something together to play some shows with, or?
Absolutely. We're already in talks to possibly do something in LA and Hollywood, in the city that kind of inspired the vibe and the sound. So that'd be definitely be the first and perfect place to unveil it. We're not sure when. We're not sure if we're going to do it before we release Volume 2 or afterwards, so we have more material to perform, if it's going to be an opening set or probably an opening set, but depends on if it'll be a 30-minute set versus a 40 or 45-minute set. So at the moment, there's, all these different variables, but I definitely see us doing it. It would be so much fun.
Cool. I look forward to it, and I hope it happens. And I hope you guys, somehow come out here to Philadelphia.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, hell yeah. Why not? You gotta start somewhere. And right now, it's just something that, from its inception, I mean, we started trading emails back in October, and to have all the songs written, I mean, it's only 5, but still having 5 good songs that are just as good as each other in many different ways. That's also the reason we wanted to do it in groups of 5, is because it expands it out and lets you focus more on the songwriting and putting out the best material and not wanting to put out any filler. Because if you put out an album of 10 songs, how much of that is filler? How much is it's so widespread in this day and age for people's attention spans. I mean, a goldfish has a larger attention span than that of like a 4-year-old, which is true. And most people, there's been studies done on it. Most people that listen to music judge a song by the first 10 seconds, which is why most songs you hear on pop radio or hot AC and whatnot, and even some country radio, is the verse is like, one line. The verse lasts for like 4 bars, and then the chorus is like 16. They want you to just get to the chorus already, pretty much. And so getting to do this and getting to do it in a way that's by our rules, with no A&R, no label, nobody telling us what to do and how to do it. If we want to put a ballad out as the first keys of a song, like, that's what we're going to do. It's real cool. As long as the vibe stays good and, we stay friends and keep writing and whatnot, and we'll keep putting them out and play shows and whatnot. The sky's the limit. It's in its baby steps, but, the sky is the limit.
Absolutely. Cool. Well, it's out now. Volume 1 is out now, correct?
Yes, Volume 1 is out now on iTunes, Amazon, all streaming services, because we don't like getting paid. But yeah, it's out there. I mean, for this thing, it's different. It's, we want more people to hear this, and we kind of just did it in our spare time. And if people like it, people want to buy it, people want to listen, then by all means, buy away. We're also working with this new platform called iDiddy, which is it's being discussed that it could be what puts away CDs and DVDs, physical copies. It's basically a backstage pass that has a code on the back of it. I think it's called a QR code, something like that. Okay. And it's got that little black and white digital code thing on there.
Right.
And so you download the app, the iDiddy app, and then you scan your backstage pass, and it gets you all the songs, gets you a bonus track, gets you behind-the-scenes videos from the studio. We can upload whatever we want to it, whenever we want to it. It's basically it's kind of like an Instagram would be, but you have all your music there. You can send special messages to your fans, and you have the sweet Backstage Pass laminate. So it's a merch item, it's an album, it's everything. It's a website, everything kind of mixed into one. And again, with that, sky's the limit. We could make a movie, we could make a documentary, or you could put everything you want on there and keep updating it. And it's phenomenal. Yeah, it's really a really cool idea. And we're one of the first rock bands to use it. So far, Steven Tyler, Carrie Underwood, Kenny Chesney, Kiss, among others. Yeah, so it's pretty cool to be one of their first baby bands, as we like to say.
Nice, very cool. Nice. Well, you got a lot of things going on. We got a lot of good music coming out of you. I guess we'll find out soon if you drive a slick black Cadillac.
Yeah, or if I party all night.
Right. Or, love a bitch. We'll find out all this stuff.
How critical my condition may be, we'll see.
Yeah. Hey, you ever stayed at the Twilight Hotel by chance?
Yeah. I mean, Mama, we're all crazy now.
Just a tad.
This is just getting bad now.
Wild and young.
Oh, yes. I am the wild and the young. Gotta be free. The sun never sets for those on the run.
Oh, there you go. Good stuff. Dude, this is great talking to you.
You never know where we'll pop up or where I will pop up. I like to keep my options open. I like to not just take things immediately as they come. But if something works itself out, then it's going to work itself out. But I am somebody that likes to think of the long run, and if something is going to be worth it for the long run, and if I can see myself doing something for the long run, then guarantee I will be there for the long run.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, you really got a buzz going with your, I guess, the tweet you put out the other day. So that really started the buzz.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's you never know what's going to happen, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of exciting, and if it's even if it's not true, I mean, it's still exciting. It gets people talking, and hey, the more the merrier. Absolutely. Very, very cool. Yeah, I get to see my like button go up on Facebook. That's always fun.
Absolutely.
Sell a couple more CDs, make a couple more connections. It's all good. A couple more interviews. It's all to play the game. And it's a big, crazy, fun, wild game of losing and losing and losing and losing, and then maybe you move forward a couple spaces, and it's always exciting. So, yeah, if there's news to be told and news to be shared, it'll be out there in a couple days, and if there's not, then it'll be out there in a couple days.
So I guess like either way, either if you're on tour with unmentioned band, or if you're on tour by yourself. Either way, I hope you come to Philadelphia, get some cheesesteaks if you're into that, and whatever. It's great talking.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the last time I was there was in Westchester and played the Note. I played the final show at the Note. We were literally coming in to bulldoze the place down the next day.
No shit. That's like 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, it was an acoustic show. You wouldn't have heard us from your house. But it was definitely fun, and I grabbed one of the pillows. I still have it. It's kind of cool.
Oh, that's funny. Look at you.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll have to bring it back.
Such a big kid.
There you go. We'll have to bring it back somehow, some way. If
definitely, yeah. I get hit up by a lot of fans on Twitter from Pennsylvania and that area, so it was a great show. I've actually got a couple fans from out in that area coming out here to just come visit. Yeah, it's kind of cool. They're bringing some homemade beef jerky, we'll see about that.
Cool. All right. Well, before
we'll see if they let them through airport security with it.
There you go. Before I let you go, two things, and then I'm going to play the Maps to Hollywood Scars Till Death tune. Number one, I'm going to ask you to do two shout-outs. Number one, to both of those boys who look up to you, it was Dakota and I think Eric. Let me just double-check the names here.
You got it.
That was right, Nick? Dakota and Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, if you could
Thanks,
just say
Nick.
hi. Nick's very quiet.
Yeah, it's kind of freaking me out, but in a good way, in a friendly sort of way.
Other people in here too. Everybody gets very quiet during the interviews.
Yes, that's very nice.
Yeah, so if you can just say hi to Dakota and Eric for them.
Of course, absolutely. Here I go. Dakota, Eric, what's going on, guys? It's James Durbin. I'm here. I'm at home, actually. I'm not actually here, but if you put your ear really close to the speaker, wherever you're listening to, it'll be like I'm actually there. I just want to tell you guys that always, I tell my son this, he's 7, I tell him, be the best you, because you don't need to worry about being anybody else other than yourself. Being yourself is what's most important in life, and no matter where that takes you, always be honest with yourself and stay true to yourself. If you want to play drums, get out there and play drums. If you want to dance, get out there and dance. If you want to be a techie, be a techie. You can do all of these things. If you want to do everything, because there's no rule book that tells you what you can do, what you can't do, and what parameters those are in. Parameters are like big walls that tell you that you can't go over there, you can't go over there, but you definitely can. Build a bridge, build a mountain, build a ladder, and climb those walls and show everybody that you are awesome and they can't control you, I guess. That's basically what I'm trying to say. Stay awesome, stay humble, stay happy, stay healthy, stay hungry, not for food, but for success. And you guys will do good, I promise.
Dude, can you tell me that like every day? That was freaking amazing.
I heard The Rock has like an app that he like motivates you every day, so maybe I'll do an app. That could be fun. It might ramble. You might get kind of tired of hearing me ramble.
But and the last, if I can just get an ID from you real quick, this is James Durbin, and you're listening to Totally Driven Radio.
Totally Driven?
Totally Driven. If you want to say Maps to the Hollywood Scars or any other band that you might be in, or American.
All right. Hey, everybody, this is James Durbin from Maps to the Hollywood Scars, and you are listening to Talk Driven Radio.
All right, let's just edit Totally Driven Radio.
Oh, Totally Driven. Shit. Okay. Here I go.
I can edit it. It's cool.
Oh, you can? Oh, Totally Driven Radio.
There you go. Very good. James, thanks so much. I love that blank pause in there. And here we go. Till Death. Anything you want to say about this song before I play it?
The song was written from the mindset of death is something that takes away from you, but in a way it can actually bring you back together with what you love. Not to take your own life in that sense, but when the time comes, it will reunite you with that thing that you lost, that thing that you miss, and that life is important, and it's better to go on than to take it into your own hands. Till Death was written from a place, in my perspective, of me losing my own dad and grandparents and what have you, and a really close friend, a really close family friend. And I wanted to write a song for not only myself, to remind myself and keep myself company and let myself know that everything's going to be okay, but to let everybody else know, all my friends, all my family, that it's okay. And till death brings us to life, we'll be right here.
Nice. That's awesome. Now I got to listen closer to these words now.
Hell yeah. I'll send them to you.
There you go. James, dude, thanks so much, man. Again, great talking to you, and hope to talk more soon, and hope to see you soon out there on the road somewhere.
Absolutely. That'd be great. It's a phenomenal interview. I had a lot of fun. We actually have a Till Death lyrics video up on our YouTube page. official Hollywood stars. So yeah, it's up there.
Nice. Well, I'll share that out as well.
Right on. I look forward to seeing you in PA.
Absolutely.
You ready to feel the noise?
Always.
I don't know what it sounds like, but I don't know.
As long as
Get
you
ready.
can feel it, that's all that matters. If you can feel it, you're good.
Yeah. I mean, if it makes you bang your head and it induces critical conditions, just don't fly on, Thunderbird. Just kind of, party all night and get crazy.
There you go.
Yeah.
All
right, till
Jim.
then. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, man. You too. Take care.
Bye. Peace.